Hi, my name is Marcy Burks. I'm the Onboarding and Performance Management Coordinator in the Office of Human Resources. And this session today is to introduce onboarding in Workday. So I want to share the overall experience of onboarding for new employees in Workday and also introduce you to the onboarding dashboard, which is a significant part of onboarding in Workday. And just a reminder that this is not a training. It is just for information sharing, and that it is based on the current configurations and knowledge that we have. As we get closer to go live, there's a possibility that there might be some changes, but at this point, we don't expect any significant changes going forward. So often when we talk about onboarding, we think about the essential tasks that occur in an employee's first week or two of an employment. Things like their required paperwork, their W-2s, direct deposit forms, things of that sort. And in truth, onboarding is really a year-long process that begins with the initial contact that an employee makes with an agency or with an organization like UW-Madison, and it continues on through the first year of employment. So as you can see in the graph here, the candidate applies, they work through the hire process. There is an onboarding setup process that involves the onboarding dashboard, which we will talk more about in a moment. Those initial items that are completed in the first week is really part of orientation. And it goes on through that first year and rolls right into our performance management as the employee finds out about career growth opportunities and really settles into their position. This definition of onboarding being the full year is supported by research that says that on the average, it takes a year for a new employee to reach peak performance. And that is clearly defined in our UW-Madison onboarding policy. So first, let's consider some ways that onboarding is not going to be changing with our move to Workday. New employees are still going to be notified and will need to activate their net ID to have access to UW systems. And this access is required before a new employee can even access Workday. So the process of notifying employees and for them to activate their credentials is not going to change. Workday is set up that employees are going to be able to access it prior to their first day, but that access is dependent on them getting these other credentials in place first. The UW-Madison policy on onboarding is not changing. Schools, colleges, and divisions are still responsible for maintaining an onboarding program. And that distinction between onboarding as a year-long process and orientation, which is that first week or two when initial tasks are completed, is also not changing. Workday supports this definition of onboarding, and managers and supervisors who are responsible for guiding new employees in this process. New employee offerings for new employee orientation, benefits 101, and other opportunities that new employees have to get grounded here at UW-Madison are still going to be available. Those are not changing. And lastly, our understanding that onboarding is really a human experience. And we want to focus on the experience of the employee. Onboarding is a key tool in employee retention. Our research shows us that most employees who leave jobs within their first year make that decision that they're going to be leaving that job within the first 2 months. And so onboarding is really an important retention tool, and Workday is going to help improve the onboarding experience for new employees by enhancing communication throughout the onboarding process, providing one comprehensive source of information, and supporting a new employee as they grow into their role. So now let's take a look at what is going to be changing with the move to Workday. Currently, onboarding is very paper focused. It's a manual process. It can be difficult to track. In the Workday, in the future state, new hire paperwork is captured electronically and auto-populates the data that's collected during recruitment and hiring. Currently, onboarding is decentralized, and different information is coming from different directions and different distribution lists. And in Workday, campus and welcome information is all going to be in one comprehensive place on the onboarding dashboard. Currently, onboarding is facilitated and tracked by the hiring manager, which can be difficult at times. to find out where they are in the onboarding process. And in the future state, new employees are going to be able to track their own onboarding progress on that onboarding dashboard. They're going to be able to see what % of the tasks that they have are still needed to be done. And they're going to be able to manage that themselves. And managers as well are going to be able to see what the status is of their new employees on their own Workday dashboards, and also by running a onboarding status report to find out the status of where all of the employees that they currently have in onboarding are in the process. And additionally, if there are students who are being onboarded and are subject to Workday, the information that we currently have in the student information system will integrate into Workday, and so students will not need to continue to add that same information. It will all get pulled into Workday. The student information system will be the source of truth for that information, so updates and changes to that information will need to happen in the student information system and will then be pulled into Workday. So the onboarding dashboard, here's a look of the general onboarding dashboard in Workday. When a new employee logs into Workday, they're going to come to their Workday landing page, the main page, and there will be a link to their onboarding dashboard, which is this page that you see here. This link on their landing page is going to be available for their first 60 days. But after that, the onboarding dashboard is still available. They will just need to go to the search at the top of the Workday page and search for the onboarding dashboard. The onboarding dashboard, it's a specialized landing page, and it's got this set of pre-configured worklets is the term that Workday uses, which are each of these little boxes of information. The 3 that you see with the cloud icons on there, those are the 3 that are modifiable by the hiring manager or their HR partner that they can set up for individual employees. The other areas are campus specific, and so those are not modifiable by individual units or departments or schools or colleges. There are welcome messages. From my manager is an area where the manager can put a personalized welcome message to the new employee in that section. The getting started section is going to have a icon graphic to show the % completion of all their tasks, as well as links to the completed tasks and the tasks that still need to be done. And the people to meet includes HR, business partners, timekeepers that they need to meet. It could also include peer partners and any other helpful contacts for the new employee as well. What you do not see on this particular dashboard is the required trainings. And that's because this is a generalized dashboard. It hasn't been set up for any individual employee yet, but there will be an additional worklet on this page that will show the required trainings that an employee needs to complete. So I mentioned the 3 sections that can be modified by a manager or an HR partner. The from my manager, the people to meet, and the helpful contacts. Those can all be set up through the onboarding setup process or setup task. And this task will be sent to managers and the supporting HR partners, security roles, when the hire process is completed. It's automatically sent and it will show up in the task inbox in Workday for those individuals. The manager can then create a welcome message that will show up on their dashboard. And there is a job aid created to show this process. It's pretty simple to walk through. There's a job aid that's created, and that job aid includes some template messaging for consideration to use depending on the employment categories of the person joining us. There are default settings for these 3 areas as well. So there is a generalized welcome message that is for any employees coming into UW-Madison. The people to meet will default to the team members on the new hires team, and the helpful contacts will default to the HR partner and the unit timekeeper. And these default settings will go ahead and kick off and set up the onboarding page 3 days prior to the employee's start date if no action is taken on the manager's part. So if no setup has been done, it will not delay the onboarding dashboard from being available for the employee. So as I mentioned, there are a few different job aids that you can take a look at for more information about the onboarding process for employees in Workday. The HR guides section on onboarding has a few different job aids in there, including what's changing for onboarding, as well as onboarding cutover dates. The onboarding cutover dates is going to explain what the onboarding experience will be for employees that are starting in June, July, in that cutover period as we move over to Workday. So depending on when their actual start date is, they may have no access or no onboarding anyway in Workday, or they may have partial onboarding in Workday or the full onboarding experience. And so if you have an employee starting in that time frame, you can take a look at that to see what that experience might be. And then the onboarding setup and managing onboarding status job aid walks you through the process of how to set up an onboarding dashboard when that task appears for an incoming employee, as well as how to check on their onboarding progress or run the report that lets you know about their onboarding progress. For questions related to onboarding, you can reach out to your divisional HR departments, and divisional representatives can reach out to LTD at OHR WISC EDU for onboarding related questions. And for any questions related to I-9 specifically, the contact there is HR compliance at OHR WISC EDU. So I'm looking forward to Workday. I think it's going to be a positive onboarding experience for our new employees. It's going to centralize everything that new hires need to know to get started. It's going to really streamline the onboarding process and make it much easier for managers and HR partners to monitor the onboarding progress for new employees. So I am excited to see it launch, and hopefully you are too. Thank you.